Hello and welcome back everyone. It's time to talk about this week's chapter of My Hero Academia, and this chapter had some pretty interesting developments, and while most people thought it was going to go away from Fatcom and Kirishima, it did in fact not. Instead we got to see what seems like some kind of rivalry between Rappa, one of the Expendables, and none other than Kirishima himself. We got this really tense moment with Kirishima, Fatcom and Rappa, where Rappa pretty much marks Kirishima for death. He has absolutely no interest in Fatcom, who delivered the final blow, but instead chose to actually challenge Kirishima to a rematch once he's well enough to stand on his feet, and it won't be just a match, but a death match. Like most Expendables, he has a pretty rough backstory, but this is not that of being worthless really, but rather in his experience he hasn't really been able to fight against anyone for real using all of his power at his disposal, because obviously when he was fighting in the underground clubs, he defeated his opponents without much effort given the power behind his bullet fist, or whatever his quirk is called. So the one thing that he's looking for is someone who can take his attacks at full power, and Kirishima seemingly gained the respect of Rappa. Not just his respect though, but Rappa even referred to Kirishima as a man after almost addressing him as a kid. So Kirishima's ability to sacrifice himself the way he did granted him the recognition of an enemy. Now one thing that I personally find pretty tense, of course, is the fact that Rappa seemingly isn't letting them go out of his sight, and Rappa wants to kill Kirishima as soon as possible. I'm kinda getting the feeling that something is going to happen in a situation like this. I can actually see someone else coming in and preventing Rappa from doing this, because both Kirishima and Fatcom are completely out of it. They will not be in fighting condition anytime soon, so unless someone actually helps them out, well, Kirishima is in some deep shit. Rappa even knocked out one of his own teammates for the sake of being able to fight Kirishima again, because Tengai kept telling Rappa that what he's actually considering is against everything that the Expendables stand for. Rappa is what you'd call a wild card, because he even goes as far as to reveal the motive behind Overhaul's doing. Well, at least the information that he knows, which is how Overhaul is trying to bring the Yakuza back, and that's something that we readers of course already knew, but I think it's the first time the heroes learn of it. I could be wrong though. And he explains about something that is supposed to be distributed to people. This is most likely referring to the drug that Overhaul is trying to create from Eri's quirk, of course, as we saw when Tamaki got hit by a bullet. It temporarily disabled his quirk, and that was while the drug was in an incomplete stage. It's only a matter of time before that drug is actually complete, and I'll actually get to that in a second. It's only a matter of time before that drug is actually ready to be used, and who knows just what it can do then. Potentially erase people's quirk at will, and also with that other quirk drug that he's made, he can boost people's quirks, as we saw when Kirishima first unlocked his unbreakable form. So I have no doubt in my mind that Fatcom will spread this information to the other heroes as soon as possible, and it will be very useful information, since now they will know for certain that these drugs are intended to increase their ranks and whatnot in order to make the Yakuza strong again. We then see Overhaul himself as him, Eri, and some other random guy. I assume they are seemingly evacuating the scene, and based on that conversation that they were having, we can pretty much assume that the cleansers are very much on the losing side, because the hooded guy does ask if it's the end of the cleansers, but Chisaki or Overhaul doesn't really give up so easily, since he does mention that they won't die as long as they have the finished product and a serum, which he is holding. So they have clearly managed to procure a finished article of whatever drug that they intended to create, so anyone hit by that laced bullet could actually end up losing their quirk from now on. I mean, we won't really know for sure until it happens, but it's very possible that whatever the finished product was supposed to be, it ain't good. I mean, the product, while not even finished, was bad enough, so this is probably foreshadowing that someone is going to end up losing their quirk, whoever it may be. It could be someone that we know really well, but it could also be that they just have a really strong countermeasure against heroes who would oppose them in general, leaving them at a pretty big advantage, but still not unbeatable. However, at the very end of the chapter, we see Toga and Twice just chilling, and Overhaul pretty much tells them to prepare for combat, which suggests that someone is coming their way, and I would bet that it's going to be Toga, given that he had a head start over everyone else. So if he ends up having to fight Toga and possibly even Twice, that'll be an interesting fight. I mean, we've yet to see them fight seriously, so I can't wait for that to go down. We might even get to see Toga turn into Deku, because we do know that she got a sample of his blood, so she might have found a way to use it despite having just a tiny amount of it. And if that is the case, then Toga may find himself in a pretty tough situation, because they don't know that Toga has Deku's blood, so he's most likely going to think that whoever's in front of him is in fact Midoriya. This is something that Toga will almost certainly take advantage of, because I mean, she infiltrates or plays tricks on people by simply pretending to be someone she's not. While I don't think Toga will win against Toga, I believe that Toga alone will put up quite a fight, because she can both become someone else by having a sample of their blood, and also she has techniques that allows her to hide her presence altogether, and that technique can be something that works very well against Toga, because he loses his vision while facing out, and Toga needs her target to take their eyes off of her in order to disappear. So every single time that Toga makes himself untouchable, Toga can delete her presence from his radar. Then we of course have Twice, but they might not fight together, to be honest. Twice could end up fighting someone else in a different part of the facility, but I dare say that Toga will fight Toga because the conditions are too good to be true. Anyway, I'll be ending the video here. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and as always, if you did, please like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been your favorite host, Perm, and I'll see you soon.